Welcome, everybody. We're glad to have you with us this afternoon. This is the 22nd of March of 2022. It's spring here in St. George. We got a little bit of sunshine today and yesterday, but we also had a little bit of rain. We understand there's rain in various places. We're on Mountain Daylight time now, and so this is 3:30 p.m. Mountain Daylight time. I'm Don Snow. I'm the teacher today. And Gerhard Roof is our host. I'm in St. George, Utah, down in the desert. Gerhard Roof, our host, is up north in Orem, Utah. And he's the technical guy that we couldn't do without. Our subject today is LDS Books Online Part 2. Now, LDS is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And this is information about what's available in printed volumes about genealogy for primarily church members, but also other people that were living in the state of Utah in the early days. Last time on part 1, 2 weeks ago, we talked about various things on introducing this and several books that were available. And now we're going to talk about some others that are available. And I'm going to do one more class on the subject too next time. Down at the bottom of the screen is where my notes are listed online, and Gerhard will post a copy of those in the chat if you're on Zoom, or in the comments if you're watching this on Facebook. And so even if you're watching this 6 or 8 months from now, that the PDF will be in there with them. You can always get the current version by that email or that URL link there at the bottom of the page. Now, don't forget Roots Tech. I just want to put in a plug for that. 1,500 classes, and they're all free, and they're online. It was 2 weeks ago, live out of Salt Lake City, but with people broadcasting their stuff from all over the world. I think it was over 240 countries were represented. And that's nearly everybody in the whole world was represented, nearly every country, because I think there's only 250 something countries in the whole world. But all those classes are available and free, and they're searchable, so you can find the ones that you're looking for in the topics. And I've got 3 different classes that are on there. Today, we're going to be talking about these LDS books online in part 2. Last time we talked about some of the major book websites. And there's a lot of them with good genealogy books. We mentioned in particular 4 of them and gave the links last week, 2 weeks ago on them. Today we're going to be looking at 2 specific groups. One is called LDS Genealogical Surveys. These are not well known, but they're if you have any ancestry, or if you're interested in somebody who was alive in the 1920s, that's about 100 years ago now. And if they took the time to fill out this form, you may find some good information. And I'm going to show you some from my grandma on that. And then another collection called LDS Membership, early LDS membership. This is a collection that was compiled by Susan Easton Black and a bunch of graduate students. She's on the religion faculty, on the church history faculty at Brigham Young University. And she got a grant from the church historian's office to go through all journals and all that sort of thing. And we'll talk about that. Now, the class notes are online, and there's the website, UVTAGG. If you're new to our group, most of you here that I recognize the names, you're not new, you've been here, so you know what this is. Utah Valley Technology and Genealogy Group.org. And that classes, and then Dawn's classes. That'll take you to where the link actually is, and it'll also show you how to get to where the recordings of these are posted for the past and so on. Let me take a minute and shift over and actually show you what that looks like. Let's see, that's this one right here. Let me get over here to that's our notes for today, but this is the link that takes you to Don Snow's class notes page. If you scroll down just a little ways down, you'll see classes coming up, and here's how to watch the classes and the links, etc. But here's the classes coming up, and here's the one for today. It's item 1 today, 2022, that's today, and March 22nd. This is the 4th Tuesday, 3:30 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. LDS Books Online Part 2. And then 2 weeks from now, well, or maybe 3 weeks from now, anyway, it's the 2nd Tuesday in April, we'll be doing part 3 on this, and then another class. I've got this Finding Living People that I keep putting that off because that's so hard to write the notes for. But well, I'll get them done and we'll get them posted on there. Here's the past classes down here, and the link from the class that we had 2 weeks ago that has the earlier part is right down there. Now, if you click on that link right there, it takes you, and I've already done it, so it's opened up in this tab. This is the tab, LDS Books Online, Part 2. Here's an abstract about the sort of things that we're going to be talking about. Here's the welcome and the introduction, and there's how to contact me if you're watching this later, or if you want to email me. I'll be glad to try and answer any questions for you. That's my email address, and it's half a dozen other places in here as well. And then here's the topic, item 4. This class continues the discussion of free, that I'm always interested in free, books online containing LDS genealogy. This was just a recap. This Genealogy Books Online section here was a recap of a couple of the things that we did last time. And so the details are in the notes before, which are on my website if you're interested in going back to it. The whole video is on there as well, so that you can click and watch the video. Here's the genealogical surveys of LDS members, 1924 to 1929. I want to spend some time on that because when I discovered that, that's a major source of help for me in some of my own ancestry here. We'll talk more details about that and show you how to get to that and where they are. They were only published volumes in the Family History Library in Salt Lake City for many years, but now they're online. They've run the whole thing online, good PDF copy of it, and so now you can do it from any place at home. Even they're available. And then here's this Susan Easton Black, and she Harvey Black died of that, and she married George Durant, so she's got 3 or 4 here names on her surnames. But Susan Easton Black is what the books are filed under in the Family History Library. And here's the details of those. And those are all online now. They used to be only in a printed format and only available in a couple of places, but now those are available. And we'll talk about how to get those, how to see those. And then here's a couple of other things that she has done also in Kapali. And then there's some conclusions. Okay, now back to our the class notes we've talked about. We want to look at and spend most of our time today on examples and demos. And so the examples and demos we want to start with are the ones that I was just talking about, the surveys, this section right here of these genealogical surveys of LDS members, 1924 to 1929. What this consists of is there are 34 volumes of 4-page forms. In the 1920s, the LDS Church printed a form about family history, and they sent it out. They gave it to everybody. Not everybody filled it out, but those who did, you're going to find some good information in there. And they asked them to fill it out on the form and turn it back in, and then they bound all those in volumes. And they were available for many years only in the Salt Lake Family History Library. And I discovered those 20 or 30 years ago up there in the bound volumes and found the stuff for my grandma. And I'll show you that here in just a second. But there's lots of other stuff in there. The 34 volumes, each one, they're 8.5 by 11 size forms. And each one was 4 pages. And they were handwritten forms, so that the if you try and do a search, the search won't pick up the handwriting, but it will pick up the printed part of it. And so they went through and did indexes. After they got all these back, they indexed them by typing up an index with the name and then the page that occurred on in that volume. And each volume has 600 or 700 or 800 pages in it, because there may be several hundred of these forms in there. Now, where they're available is this item 8, Family Search Catalog, and there's the link. I'm going to hold down my control key while I click so that it will hold our place in these notes. This is there's the catalog in Family Search. This is the stuff. In genealogical surveys of LDS members, autobiographies, and ancestors. Now, I'll show you what these forms look like, but let's scroll down here and show you what all this stuff looks like. First of all, here's the information about it, about how they did it and what it was, what it consisted of, and the details. And then down here in red, you see, to view a digital version of volume 1 of this item, click here. Volume 2, click here. You wonder, well, what's in volume 1 or what's in volume 2, and how do you know? You keep on going down. I'm scrolling down further and further, and down near the bottom, you find what's in the volumes. I don't know why they don't put that up here. About volume 1 contains A through, well, all the letter A, the first, the last surname started with A. Volume 2 consists of those whose surname started with BA to BE. Volume 3 is BL to BOY. Volume 4 is this, and so on. All 34 volumes are listed here. It would have made it easier if they'd have just put those notes up inside the information up here. Let me go to one of these. I'll go to, let's see, number let's see, it's volume 28, has a bunch of snows in it. And so let me illustrate that. I'm going to click here. You see where it says click here? I'm going to hold down this control key again. Okay, I click there. It's opening a new tab. And here's the tab. This is the information on this volume 28 of these. Now you look at the thing over here, and this is the first page of the PDF. That's what the title looks like. It's pretty light colored. And I've got to figure out a way to make it darker. I think you can do a bulk change to, once you download the thing, you can do a bulk change to darker by using some other programs, but I've got to experiment with that first. But I want to show you, first of all, how you even get into these things. You can get in and look at the individual part. Right down here over on the left side, it says view inside. If you click view inside, it opens up this thing and it says, okay, who are you? You gotta tell them who you are. Well, and you can set up an account. Most of you probably have an account already on Family Search with your own password, whether you're members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints or not. They're for free accounts. And so there's my password. And it's a bunch of dots. Okay, sign in. It says, because they want to know who you are if you're clicking on it. So I guess I didn't click. Click there. Let's sign in. Okay, and now it's signing in, and it should be getting me back. Okay, now I'm signed in. Up at the top, someplace it'll say something about snow or welcome up there. Someplace it's got your information. Now, if I click back on here on view inside, it will actually let me see what's inside. Now it switches to this dark. White on dark, and it does look a little bit brighter here on the writing, which helps me on my eyesight. I'll scroll this out a little bit so you can see a little bit better what it is. And you can roll this thing up and down with I'm just taking the mouse wheel to roll it up and down to see what's in there. Now there's a search button on here, but I find it helpful to download the whole book, because then I've got it on my computer and it only takes a second to do it. Well, longer than a second. Up here on the right, you can maybe see where I'm circling with my mouse. There's a downward arrow pointing down. That's download. I'm going to click on that. Click. And it says, okay, what do you want to do? Download file format. Now, I want it in PDF, but because these things are pretty big, it takes a long time to convert it. To show it in PDF. So I've clicked on both of those first two things over there on the right that say PDF, and it doesn't put the dot in there for some reason, and I don't know why it doesn't. Maybe it's just too slow. And then down here there's a word download. Now if you click on download, it says, okay, here it comes. It's ready to go. Now it says, what do you want to do with this? Well, I want to download it. Okay, now it says, all right, so where are you going to put it and what do you want to name it? So I'm going to put it on, I'll put it on this PC, and I always do it in, I've got a collection that I do family history data in. There it is, there's family history data. And then I usually have one in here someplace in here, I've got one that's called books. I'm not even sure where that one is now, so I won't look for that. But now I give it a name. Now this is the name that's there, is the name that they put on it. But I'm going to name it so I can find it later. BOOK. When I download a book, I put the term book in front of it so that they all alphabetize together. Genealogical surveys of LDS members. That's the title. And then the years are 1924 to 1929. Okay, and then this is volume 28. I think it was 28, wasn't it? That's the one that had the snows in it. Okay, and then I put a couple of dots. I always leave their name in here of it. And you notice that they've got a numbering system here, but it always has a underscore and then the volume number 28 at the end of it. Okay, and then I always put where I got it, family search, and today's date, 2022-03-22. I got some of that screwed up. Let's get back here to 03-22, and then .pdf, it put that on there. Okay, and I'm ready to save that. Now, let's see, where's the save thing? Oh, it's hidden behind my, let me see if I can move this a little bit. And it's hidden, for me, it was hidden back of the thing over here. Click save. Okay, now what it has done is you see down here in the lower left-hand corner, you can see a thing where it saves it. And Chrome, the way they've got it now, it saves it and it tells you what the thing is down there. So now it's on my computer. This whole book has been downloaded on my computer. Now, what I'll do is I will find that. This is this everything program that most of you know that I use daily, many times of the day. And it is going through right now and it's updating because I haven't used it for a little while today yet. So it's updating itself and it's finding every file and every folder on all 3 hard drives that are in this computer. There, it's done. Okay, now I know the name I gave it was book and it was surveys. And I knew it was volume, what was volume 28, wasn't it? Volume 28. There it is. Okay, I got BB book. Okay, I better go through and rename that just so I'm gonna hit F2 and go back and get rid of one of those B's. There it is. Okay, now it's renamed. Okay, now it's on there, and over here on the right, you're beginning to see the list of all the pages. I'm going to double click on it so that it will open it up in whatever program you have a default set for. And right now, the default that I've got set for here is, let's see, this one is PDF Exchange Editor. It's the free version of it, not the paid version. There's the whole thing. And if I arrow with the arrow keys, I'm just arrowing left and to the right. There's what all these things look like. See, there's the typed index at the start of each one of these. They typed the index for all of them before they started with the handwritten copies. And the handwritten copies, there's the first one. Now, what these are is that, and I'll show you one with my grandma here in just a minute. The 4 pages, they ask things like, tell us about yourself, tell us about your father's family, tell us about your mother's family, tell us about your own family. And the people hand wrote their information on there. And then in each was a 4-page form. That was the first page. Then if I arrow over here, there's the second and third page. And then I arrow over once more. And there's the 4th page, and then it starts with the next one. And so there's the next one. So these 4-page forms, I guess they were folded because I noticed that there's 1 or 2 of them that were typewritten. So the people must have folded them, stuck them in typewriters and typed them. And of course, those will index, but the handwriting here will not index, but the printed part of this thing will index. And so that typed information at the start will all index. And so with this program running, for example, I'll go over here to, this is the search thing. I'll search for, what do you want to search for? I'll search for, well, I've already got snow in there. I'll do a search And there's a click on that. Okay, now in this column, what are here? Let me make that a little bit bigger. Let me show you the, I'll click on my Explorer view or my magnifier view, because I find that really helpful. Because of my eyesight now, I have to use this all the time. Book genealogical surveys. It found 13 entries that involved the name Snow. Now, of course, these are not the handwritten parts, but these are the parts that were either typed or something like that. On page 9, there's Edna Snow, Mrs. And Elida Crosby Snow. Now, that was Laura and Quilden, who are on this today on this Zoom call. That's Laura's. Let's see, is that your grandma or great grandma, Laura? I think it's your great grandma. That was the first wife of my grandfather, Erastus Beeman Snow. And so there's her write-up, and Emily Aurelia is on there. Here's Mrs. Elida Crosby, that was her. I'm just scrolling down over here on this right side that's showing me the different hits. If I click on this one, Elida Crosby, let me click on it to get it to where it is. Okay, over here, it's on this. It's so light, I can hardly read it. Maybe you folks can read it with my magnifying thing on there. You can see all these things that it's highlighted the snows, because I said search for snow in here. So this is the index, the typed index at the start that is showing. But it'll tell you the pages where to go to for what these are. So here's pages 321, 320. 5 or 6 or whatever they are on there. Now that's an example of it. Let me back off and let me close this, and I want to show you with a different program what it looks like with that. I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to turn off this magnifying thing, and I'm going to go down here to search everything. Because I've already downloaded the ones for my grandma, so I'm going to put Condi. That was her name was Snow Condi. Ann Stafford. Ann Stafford. Whoops, did I spell something wrong? I'll put surveys, and the page I want to show you on hers was page 216 out of that volume. So here are copies of it, different versions. Let me figure out which one is the right one that I want to show you, because one of them is brighter than the others, and it's a lot easier to read. And that's the one I want to magnify to show you. I think it's this one right here. Let me double click on it and open it up. Yeah, here it is. Okay, now this is my grandma Condi's handwriting. And this is the second page. Hers was page 215, 216, 217, and 218. That was her 4 pages. In here it says, give the names of your ancestors, of your father's family and direct line, etc. Here's what she wrote. And this is the only thing I have of Grandma Condi's handwriting, in her handwriting. I don't know anything about the ancestors on my father's side. I left England, and when 13 years old, leaving every one of my relatives behind. Have never corresponded with any of them. I had several brothers and am not sure whether I had any sisters or not. I have never lived with my parents since I was 6 years old. That's dramatic. Now, this is the only thing I've got from my grandma. I don't have a letter. I don't have anything else that she wrote. But what she filled out this form, fortunately, in the 1920s. She died in 1948, and she's the only grandparent that I ever really knew. And I didn't grow up here in St. George, but she was here. My dad grew up here in St. George, but then went to dental school in Los Angeles and stayed in LA. So I grew up in Los Angeles. But she died the same year I graduated from North Hollywood High School. She died up here and is buried here at St. George. That's the information about her on that. Now, the ironic thing is that she did not know what had happened to her parents. It turns out her grandfather that she knew emigrated to Canada while she was still alive, but she had never corresponded with any of them to know that. And we didn't know that. My daughter Linda was able to find that out. We could not find a death record for her grandma her grandparents in England. And we wondered where it was. And it's one of these serendipity kind of things that happen over and over again in genealogy. Linda finally found that somebody said, I think I saw that name in a census record in Canada. When she began to check, she found that they were living in Ontario, Canada. And many years ago in the 1970s, I had a sabbatical leave from teaching mathematics at BYU to teaching at the University of Waterloo in Canada, which is kind of like the MIT up in Canada. We did not know then, when we were there, that I had living cousins living just 3 hours drive from where we were. It's another remarkable story is how we found all that, the details later, but that's the story. So you may be able to find stuff on there that on the stuff that you didn't know about from your own ancestor. And you may not too, because they may not have taken time to fill out the form. If they didn't, then there's nothing you can do about it. But if they did, you may be able to. Now I'm back to, this is what I'm showing you here, is we're back to the family history catalog. How's our time going? Oh boy, oh man. Okay, well, anyway, let me just go down quickly. If you keep on scrolling down past this thing, you get down into here where there's other, the hard copy relations or length of it. And even further down, there's a link over here that you can click on these things and it'll show you the individual book online. I clicked on one in let's see if I can get it to show. I can't get it to show. It shows you the pages and you can look at the pages individually, but they're so hard to read that it may not be worth your while to try and do that. If you can find the right page or the right book, download the book and then you can do what you want to with it. All right, anyway, that was a discussion of that genealogical surveys of LDS members, and you may find some stuff in there, you may not too. Okay, now just it's a last minute thing here. This Susan Easton Black, she's a professor of church history at BYU. She compiled a 50-volume set of early church membership records. And it was, there's only 4 or 5 printed copies of it. Each volume is about 3 inches thick and they're 8.5 by 11 inch size. That has now been scanned and is now available on here. And there's a link to it right there. I'm going to hold down the control key while I click and it's opening up. Well, let me close this other stuff that we were dealing with from over there. It's right here. It is. This is the membership of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It says 1830 to 1848, but the stuff goes clear up till nearly 1900 because the people were still alive or they had kids later and so on. So even though the details are, their primary emphasis was earlier. Now there's 50 volumes of this thing. So here's this red thing. Click here for volume 1, volume 2, etc. Again, how do you know what's in volume 1 and 2? Scroll down. This is the catalog, the family search catalog. Here's the list down here of what's in each of the different volumes. And so, and you could download all these volumes if you want to. Same deal as we did with the others. I've downloaded the volume for the Snows because there's bunches of Snows in there. But of course, Snows get mentioned in a lot of other places because they marry different people. And so there's different surnames that Snows would be in different volumes here besides the ones that have S's on them. But anyway, that's worthwhile checking out. what they look like. Let's see, I can show you just a quick picture of them by, if I go back over here to everything, that's called members, and you got to spell this right. Members, and it was 1830 to 1848. That's in the title. So here's examples of it. Susan Easton Black collection. Let me just click on one of these. I've forgotten which volume is which. Well, there's volume 40. I think volume 40 was the one that, I think that was one that had the snows in it. I can't remember for sure now. Let me come on. That's not. They're pretty big. Each volume has several, maybe 800 pages in it. I can't get that to work. Oh gosh, I can't even get to. Well, I can't show you. I was gonna, for some reason it's hanging up, and our time is running out, so I can't really. No, I can't get out of that. Let's see if I can close this thing. It's probably trying to work on it. Okay, I'm going to do a Control-Alt-Delete and get into Task Manager and hit Task Manager, Zoom meeting at Google. Let's see, click everything, close everything, stop everything, stop Google Chrome. I'll leave running, LibreOffice. Oh, I better leave that running because that was the other thing. And that Zoom meeting, okay, that all right. The rest of this stuff should okay. Anyway, I think we're back. But I'm sorry, I can't show you an illustration of what those look like. They're typed pages with a lot of information about where they were born, who they married, what their kids' names were, the details about something about them, if they were missionaries for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or what their priesthood office was, or various other things. And they're every word searchable. Now, these are all available on the church website, and you can download the whole book if you want to, which I find helpful to have, because then they're more searchable. But gosh, with 50 volumes, I don't know that I want to download all of them. On there. There are also, that was item 12 on the notes. Item 13 is the early members of the reorganized church. And there's 6 volumes more of those. And you may find some information in there that would be helpful to you. And then there's another, item 14 is annotated record of baptisms for the dead. When Joseph Smith first talked about baptisms for the dead, they started baptizing people before the temples in the Mississippi River, and that's a collection of what those are, and those are all now. That was printed volumes, but those are now available. Okay, now the conclusions here for the LDS members. If you have anybody in that time period, start looking, because you may find a lot of good information in these volumes. Let's go back to the slideshow here, and here's a summary. We talked about major book websites, primarily those were last time. Here we've talked about the LDS genealogical surveys, which is what I found for my ancestors, some of the only things I can find about them. LDS membership, the early records, and then there's more in other classes. There's still 2 other complete sets that I think I'm going to talk about next time that we haven't even touched today or in last week's class. All right, if you came in late, the video is on Facebook and on YouTube, and it'll be available to watch again if you want to. Any questions or comments that any of you have? And if you do, just unmute your mic and ask your question. And Gerhard, I guess, did we ever get this on Facebook? Is there anything on Facebook?
I don't have any questions or comments on Facebook.
Okay. Do any of the rest of you that are on Zoom want to ask anything or make any comments?
I did have a question that's not related to this. That little magnifying application, where did that come from?
That's in Microsoft. That's in Windows.
Oh, that's actually in Windows.
Yeah, that's a Windows thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I just because of my eyesight problem now, I opened it up and then clicked down on the taskbar and said, nail this to the taskbar so I can get to it easily.
Okay. I think I've probably seen it before, but I need to get it so that it's handy because, well, my vision's pretty good, but sometimes it's just handy to be able to blow things up for a second.
Oh, yeah. And you can change the magnification on it. I have
Okay.
it set for 200%, so it doubles the size, but you can go up to, I think, 800%, something like that. And you can also change the colors. You can reverse the image.
So is it just called magnifier or magnifying
yeah,
glass?
it's in the display thing. If you go into the control panel, then, or maybe under accessibility, something like that, in the control panel, you know, you're down in the lower left-hand corner.
Yeah.
You type in control panel in that thing and search for it, open up the control panel, and that gives you the different stuff that's in there. And it's either under accessibility or display or something like that.
Okay.
And it's
Don, the simplest way to find it is to use that search field in the taskbar and just
Okay.
type in magnifier, and you'll
Okay.
see an option come up how to turn it off or on.
Okay. Thank you.
That's right. That's a simple way to do it. Yeah. Good. Thanks, Gerhard. Good. Okay. And I find it, I use it all the time. Any other questions or comments?
No,
Well,
just thanks for the class.
okay. Well, I appreciate you guys taking time to watch it and to be with us. And if any of you do have further questions, feel free to write and ask me. And my email address is available on the notes and on my webpage and everywhere else you can think of. So thanks for taking the time to watch with us.